Hey, what's going on guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and I am here outside of Boise, Idaho with the all-new 2024 Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. And I'm gonna have a full review coming on this bike very soon. But in this video, I just wanted to kind of walk around it and show you everything that's new for 2024 with this bike, because there's quite a bit. So yeah, let's jump right into it and see everything that Yamaha did to this bike for this year. So the first thing that you need to know is right up front, this radar sensor. This now has a radar sensor in the front, mainly for adaptive cruise control. There's a couple other things, but yeah. One of the first bikes to come out with that. The only other one I've ridden is Ducati's Multistrada. But yeah, that's a pretty cool system. So kind of show you how that works. And before I do, we'll talk about one other thing that's new, which is this 7-inch TFT screen. The previous version of this bike had one of the worst designed screens, in my opinion, that you could put on a motorcycle. It was like this weird split screen thing. Looked horrible in my opinion. This is so much better, and this is a really good looking screen. It's super bright, really colorful, and it is massive. I really like the size of it. So that's all new. And yeah, this is new too. Before they had a little scroll wheel with a push into select, and every time you would push into select, you'd end up scrolling it. This is so much easier to use. You have a home button and a joystick that pushes in, and I've been using this all day and I haven't made one mistake with it. So kudos to Yamaha for really improving the way you interact with the bike. Let me go into my settings here. Actually, settings is not what I want. I'm trying to show you the cruise control. So over here, we have a cruise control switch. Turn that on, and you can see that up top is where your speed is gonna set, and then your following distance is right below that. So bike isn't on right now. It won't let me change following distance, but you have a trigger right there, and yeah, you can change your following distance, and this will follow, just like most modern cars do, the vehicle in front of you, and you really don't need to think about it. It also applies the brakes for you. When it detects that the vehicle in front of you is slowing down, it doesn't coast down to speed like a lot of bikes do. This actually applies the brakes, which is really cool. And again, I'm gonna demo that in my full review, show you exactly how that works. Now, part of that is this new UBS system, which is Unified Braking System. And sounds like what it does. So you pull the front brake lever and it's going to apply some rear brakes automatically. And same thing works the other way. If you apply the rear brakes, it's going to add some front brake for you. But that's only part of it. The other part of the system will basically use the wheel speed sensors, the 6-axis IMU, and this radar system to detect if you're approaching a vehicle and you don't have enough brake pressure applied. The bike will basically decide for you that you need more brake pressure, and it will try and bring you down to a stop safely by adding more brake. It's not a collision avoidance system, so what I mean by that is it's not going to prevent you from getting in a collision. The system will not work unless you have some brakes applied. So if you're on the brakes already, it can add more brakes, but if you're not touching the brakes at all, it's not going to do anything for you. Yeah, that's the unified braking system. We also have a new seat cover, so a little more padding here you can see on the edges, and a new cover. Looks really good with this contrast stitching too. Speaking of which, this is the only color the bike comes in for this year, which is a new color. It's called Storm Gray, and I think it's got a pretty sweet look to it. I really like this kind of bronze accent that runs down the side. You've got some bronzy gold color forks there as well. What else is new? Let's take a look over here at the front of the bike. This design has been around for a while, but you now have new cornering lights built into these top LEDs. So when your lean angle exceeds 7 degrees, one way or the other, the inside cornering light will turn on and throw some light onto the road, so you can see better around the corner. And yeah, the other thing is smartphone connectivity as well. So you can now connect your phone to this. Let's see if it'll work. I'm recording on my phone right now, so I'm not sure it will. Yeah, it definitely won't. But yeah, if I weren't recording on my phone, you can pull up a Garmin GPS system on here. It's $4 a month for the Garmin system. It doesn't support CarPlay or Google Maps or Apple Maps or anything, so if you want GPS, you have to use the Garmin app. But I don't have service right here. You download all the maps offline onto your phone, and then you can get directions no matter where you are without service. It'll also, let you control your music. It'll display your phone calls and your text messages, which is a little questionable with the text messages. But yeah, it does a lot of sweet stuff. And then you connect your phone to this and your Bluetooth helmet communicator. I use a Cardo. You would connect both of those to the bike. The bike would act as the middleman for all that and send your music to your helmet, and then you can control it all through the screen here. You have an adjustable windscreen right here with 10 different positions. I've mostly been riding with it in the highest position. Seems to keep most of the wind off of my head. There's also a new quick shifter on this bike. The previous version of the bike had a quick shifter, and Yamaha's really been improving the quick shifter on these bikes. So at first it only worked for clutchless upshifting, then they went to upshifting and downshifting, but that last version of the quick shifter only worked on upshifts while accelerating or downshifts while decelerating. Now it works upshifts and downshifts while accelerating or decelerating. So a lot more times you can actually use the quick shifter. And then we also have a new electronically controlled semi-active suspension system. So bikes had a similar system before. This is a new version. It's by KYB. You have two settings, A1 and A2. A1's stiffer, A2 is the softer setting, and you can kind of switch between those. And yeah, I'll have all that in my full ride review as well. And also the unified braking system I was talking about before not only adds brake pressure, but it will also adjust the damping forces in the suspension to help bring you down to a stop. You have adjustable preload on both tops of the fork caps, and then you have a remote preload adjuster back here as well. Yeah, 30-liter side cases, which comes standard on this bike. Yamaha says they can fit a full-size helmet. I didn't quite fit mine in there, I think partially because I've got a big camera mounted to the front of it, but most helmets you should be able to fit in there. Of course, this bike comes with a center stand and a side stand. That's been something that's been going on with the Tracer for a while. But yeah, this is pretty much Yamaha's flagship sport touring bike, and they've made a lot of changes to it for this year. You'll have to let me know down in the comments, were these changes, significant enough to get someone who owns maybe last year's bike to trade in on theirs. I had a 2019 Tracer 900, and this has way more features than my 2019 did. So it definitely seems like a worthwhile upgrade from that bike, but I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on how this compares to some of the newer bikes out there. A couple other specs we'll go through real quick. 5-gallon tank, weighs 489 pounds wet, ready to go on the road. Payload is 425 pounds, so that's what you can load up onto the bike. Obviously, it's powered by Yamaha's 890cc CP3 inline 3-cylinder, which is, a motor that a lot of us have come to know and come to love. So I'm sure you can kind of get a feel for what this bike is like to ride. And another thing I want to mention is the ride modes. We've got a ride mode button here. Thank you, Yamaha, for naming range, street, sport, and custom. It was so confusing when these were all lettered or numbered ride modes. So yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about what's new on this bike. There's plenty more to talk about in the full ride review, which I'm in the middle of shooting right now. So yeah, this is just kind of showing you everything what's new. These will be available at the end of August 2023. MSRP is $16,499. So yeah, let me know what questions you have, what you want to see in the full review, and that should be coming very shortly. Thanks for watching. Check out alltfl.com, and I'll catch you in the next video.